I've got about a dozen or so stories from Cloud World I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. After that, we're going to actually dive in and talk a little more about the vehicle. We're going to have a lot of fun. Let's dive in. There's a woman that I know, highly successful. She spends about $50,000 to $100,000 a month, lives a very lavish lifestyle. Good for her. She earned it. With that being said, when she heard that I had purchased this vehicle, mind you, she normally drives the latest $100,000 plus vehicle. She made the comment on how it must be nice and how she'll never be able to afford this vehicle. I met some guy the other day and he was telling me how he purchased a brand new Jeep and a Bronco for his wife and son. Totally spec to the nine. Probably spent somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000 on those two vehicles. He then said, I just don't know what vehicle to buy for myself. I said, why don't you get a Hummer H2? It's a great truck. I think you'd really like it. He said, I can't afford one of those vehicles. I sent someone a picture of my H2. It was a beautiful photo that I had taken. And I said, with almost 200,000 miles, it still looks just about brand new. Her response was, wow, that's got to be a lot of gas. In her mind, it might as well be negative 100 mpg to the gallon. In all three of these stories, literally that's how their minds have been wired. I came across a story on YouTube. It's actually like a little documentary on a couple. They said how they couldn't take the rising price of gasoline, so they sold their SUVs and they went out and spent $250,000 on a set of Rivians. Came across a story of a Hummer H2 owner. He bought the H2 brand new in 2003. Never really had any major issues with the vehicle. His neighbor went through 9 or so vehicles, over 10 or so years, but would not buy a Hummer H2. Mind you, there's no problem going through brand new vehicle after brand new vehicle, massive depreciation on each purchase, but making the decision to buy a highly reliable vehicle that's nothing short of an unparalleled experience. In his mind, buying one of these vehicles would be a terrible decision. Here's an interesting story. There's a Facebook group that helps doctors and nurses get to work in really difficult snowstorms. A Hummer H2 owner reached out and said, hey, I've got a Hummer H2. I'd be more than glad to help out and get doctors and nurses to work. The response from the people on this Facebook group was, we don't allow Hummers in our group. Apparently it was just a Jeep only group or something like that, or majority Jeep owners. The goal is to save lives. Absolutely insane. Funny enough, I accidentally stumbled across a forum where they were discussing the Hummer H3 versus the Bronco. It's called Bronco 6G Forum. And some guy on there was going off on Hummers. Hummer H2, Hummer H3, trash vehicles. I mean, this guy was just repeating the standard propaganda line that you hear all over Reddit, most of YouTube videos. What do you know? A couple people on the forums, on this forum, had Hummer H2s, owned Hummer H3s. They said, hey, the H2 was the best vehicle that they ever owned. The one guy was in the Army, and he said, I couldn't stand Humvees. All I wanted to do was drive the Hummer H2. Some of the H3 owners actually said how the H3 was the best off-roading vehicle they've ever had in their entire life. Interesting enough, everything that the Hummer H2 can do, the Hummer H3 can do identically. It's very cool. My brother and I, we go to Vermont on a lot of snowboard trips, and I've had multiple people tell me how we shouldn't be driving the H2 to Vermont. It's going to cost too much money. We should fly and then rent a car. I'll tell you guys, it was $300 round trip for my brother and I to drive to Vermont and back. Mind you, every time we drive up there, like, vehicles are getting totaled. It's no joke. I've seen some crazy storms outside of Buffalo, crazy storms in Vermont, Route 4. It's no joke. But there's people out there who would rather see me fly and then rent a vehicle. That'd be like $1,000 plus for combined for both of us. One of the stories or situations that I've run into owning this vehicle is someone will ask me, about gas mileage, and I'll say, well, it's really not that bad, and they'll say, well, how big is the tank? Interesting enough, this has happened to me a couple times, and I went on the forums going back to like 2005, and there was people talking about this exact same conversation from Clown World or NPC World. So it's a very interesting note. Something else to think about, guys, or to be aware of, if you guys do purchase this vehicle, don't try to convince someone about the vehicle. These people, they already have their minds made up. You're not going to change it. Just something to keep in mind. I came across a website. It's like an English website, and there was an argument going on about the Hummer H2 for like 6 months to a year, where these people going back and forth, just battling it out, talking about the vehicle. So something to keep in mind. Interesting enough, in England they call it the Yank tank. So this is my Yank tank, everyone. I love it. Here's a good one. On Reddit, I came across a guy. He was like, I lived outside a Marine Corps base, and there was a lot of U.S. Marines driving Hummer H2s. They all thought they were tough. These guys are the tip of the spear. This guy is potentially making fun of a Purple Heart recipient, maybe a Silver Star or Bronze Star recipient. Absolutely insane. When it comes to like Reddit or just in general, like, there is insanity about this vehicle all over Reddit. Stupidity, propaganda. It's all over the place. YouTube, documentaries, random websites. So you really need to be careful when it comes to taking advice from someone about this vehicle. Here's something to think about too, is that I live in the United States. Half of the people in my country voted for mass inflation. Absolutely insane. Let that sink in. Clown World. Insane. All right, so those are some of the stories from Clown World. We're going to dive in. We're going to talk about the actual vehicle itself. I've got to make a lot of corrections or explanations for that matter, because the amount of YouTube reviews that I've seen, people talk about this vehicle, the amount of inaccuracies, it's just absolutely insane. So let's dive in. Here we go. I've often watched these YouTube reviews where people make the comment on how the Hummer H2 has terrible visibility, tons of blind spots. I actually came across one guy online. He was like, looking out the Hummer H2 window is like a World War II pillbox. Now, I do find his comment quite humorous, but let me tell you guys, when you're looking out these windows, it's an absolute incredible view. It's an incredible, unparalleled experience. If you're looking out, this window and you find it hard to see visibility, you've got a serious problem. Visibility is absolutely incredible. When it comes to like blind spots, it's the same blind spot on every vehicle that I've ever driven. It's right over my shoulder, my left and right shoulder, right where I'm standing, right here on the side of the vehicle. I can't tell you how many people I've seen in cars. They just hang out in this section on the road. They do not pass you. well, that would be on the driver's side, but sometimes it happens on the passenger side as well. So when it comes to visibility, guys, let me tell you, it's an absolutely incredible experience. The dimensions, everything, it's just it's pretty close to perfection on this vehicle.